Hi, my name is Paola Morales-Perez, and today I will be tackling Chapter 13 of our textbook titled Staffing Shortages, Then, Now, and Continuing. I will particularly be focusing in nursing because as an HR professional myself within a healthcare setting, I am constantly exposed to this issue and find it super important to further learn about. I would also like to emphasize that much of my research was based on external sources, supplemented by the insights provided in our textbook. Before I start, it is imperative for me to explain the impact of registered nurses in our healthcare system. Registered nurses comprise the largest and one of the most important segments of the U.S. healthcare workforce, with almost 3 million of them actively working. A shortage in this segment results in negative consequences not only for patient care, but the overall U.S. economy. But what exactly nursing entails? The book describes it as the art and science of caring for individuals of all ages, families, groups, or communities in all settings in which that healthcare may be offered. The nursing shortage initiated in the 1930s and has been present ever since. Because of this, numerous governmental and HCO measures have been taken to fight it. The COVID-19 pandemic further emphasized how bad the shortage had gotten and even worsened it. Due to this, policies and strategies continue to be developed in present times. Several factors in the 1930s led to the shortage. These factors include general technological advancements, a changing economy, healthcare development, and nurses getting deployed to serve in the World War II, which decreased the supply of nurses available to work in the mainland. As time went on, there were more factors that contributed to the shortage. Among these were retiring baby boomer nurses that are not being replaced quickly enough, humans living longer because of the different advancements, lack of nurse faculty, which has caused less students being admitted to nursing schools, and stress and burnout. I must also add that in the book, the author mentions our aging population and the continued economic growth of the nation as the two major causes of the nursing shortage. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an increase in demand for healthcare services with an ongoing shortage already established. And a lot of nurses that worked during this time contracted the virus, which resulted in a weaker workforce because they had to quarantine, and in some instances, it even resulted in death. Because of the impact the nursing shortage has on the country's overall healthcare system and economy, the government needed to take action, which they have been doing. They have actively been doing so since the shortage initiated back in the 1930s to this very day through different policies and measures. Some examples of federal policies and efforts include the enactment of the 1943 Bolton Act, the 1964 Nurse Training Act, the 1989 Immigration Nursing Relief Act, and the 1999 Nurse Relief for Disadvantaged Areas enactment as well. All of them were created with purposes based on the needs at the time of enactment. For example, the Bolton Act established the Cadet Nurses Corps, while the Nurse Training Act provided funding for nurse education. Additionally, the Nurse Relief for Disadvantaged Areas and the Immigration Nursing Relief Acts authorized U.S. visas to foreign nurses. Furthermore, states have been taking measures into their own hands because of the flexibility they possess to enact regulatory and legislative changes in comparison to the federal government. They do so by funding different aspects contributing to the shortage. And at the end of the day, local governing bodies should know the needs of their states better than anybody. Something interesting to note is that in our book, it is mentioned how the nursing shortage is not uniformly distributed around the country. Some states may at times have more than enough nurses, while others may not have enough to meet their needs. For instance, the state of Florida created the Line Fund, which fosters partnerships between providers and educational institutions to expand nursing capacity by recruiting faculty and clinical preceptors. Meanwhile, Arizona responded by passing House Bill 2691, which allocates up to $15 million towards nurse education. Another measure taken to address this issue is allowing nurses that reside in a nurse licensure compact state to hold a multi-state license that allows them to work in person or via telehealth in other compact states. This fosters nurse mobility, public protection, and access to care. States in the darkest shade belong to this movement. Our textbook highlights that nearly half the states in the nation allow APRNs to work to the full scope of their education and training, allowing them to assess, diagnose, treat, and coordinate care for patients. As you can see in the map, it's 28 of them. While states like New York and Utah have part in this, states like Florida are part of the restricted practice states. A healthcare organization's HR department must have strategies in place to navigate the shortage. They should ensure the satisfaction of their nursing team to minimize turnover rates and mitigate the overall shortage. Additionally, by implementing recruiting strategies, there's a possibility more candidates will apply and thus acquire more nurses. As a fun fact, the hospital I work for utilizes all the strategies about to be mentioned. A way to achieve satisfaction among their current team is through recognition. Through honoring entities such as the Daisy Foundation, HCOs are giving a platform to highlight outstanding nurses. This allows them to select an honoree and organize a celebration for them, which fosters engagement and retention. Travel nurses have been present since before COVID-19. However, it was not until the pandemic that HR departments highly depended on the contracting of such to rapidly fill vacant positions. Though not as prevalent as in 2020, it does continue to be a strategy to gain more nurses for a lot of organizations in present times. Another common strategy followed by a lot of HR departments involved the recruiting of international nurses. Some institutions go as far as having their own international health recruitment program. The job location, length of employment contracts, compensation, and benefits can vary depending on whether a nurse is hired through an agency or directly by an HCO. Monetary rewards also come into play when it comes to attracting and retaining staff. Some examples include the sign-on bonuses that serve to attract candidates, referral bonuses that serve to recruit, retention bonuses that serve to retain, and educational bonuses that serve the HCO with higher educated nursing staff. To further enhance my research, I wanted to see what policy measures are suggested to the government to take into consideration at both the federal and state levels. In the process, I stumbled upon several that touch base on different aspects of the shortage and came up with my own as well, which will be more profoundly discussed in the upcoming slide. At the federal level, it is suggested to tackle patient to nurse ratios through financial penalties and to also aggressively promote public health in order to lower the need of medical services. At the state level, which I came up with, is for nurse practitioner responsibilities to be expanded at limited states and for non-compact states to consider allowing the multi-state license issuance. With my research, I concluded that the nursing shortage should not solely rest on the shoulders of the government, that organizations must actively engage in addressing it based on their unique needs, and that the combination of these strategies and policies form a package of efforts to ensure a stable, well-supported healthcare system that benefits the whole US population. With that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. Please see my references on this and the upcoming slides. Hope you enjoyed watching and learning.